Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's extraordinary session. So, give us a couple of minutes. Our host will be joining. Yeah, she's here.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for setting this up. Sahil, yeah, while we wait for our hosts, 1 second. I have my wonderful presenter joining us shortly. I hope I'm audible to all. All right, everybody, let's get started. Sure, as we can see, there are more and more people joining by the minute. But those of you who are already here, let's get started with our session. And the fact that you're all gathered here on a Sunday to learn about pursuing bachelor's abroad, specifically in the US, is actually really meaningful because it means that you already have the intention, the dedication, the motivation to pursue your dreams. And all you need is the right guidance and support. Because the fact that you're not doing something else on a Sunday, but you're giving this time towards your dream is fantastic. So a pat on the back for everybody who made it here. I'd also love to hear from the audience in the chat if any parents are here. So that's another big plus because that means you're watching this as a family and everyone knows that parents are, of course, the most invested in their children's future. And for parents and children to watch this together or the parents to be in on it and with the right kind of guidance from professionals that should be listening to today, I think it's a fantastic recipe. So I'm really excited that you are all here. So today we will be going through in depth about what are the steps that you need to take to pursue your bachelor's degree in the US, especially at the top universities? Now, a lot of us in India, maybe we are familiar with the Indian admission system. Indian colleges typically are very one-dimensional in their admissions, in their application requirements, because most Indian universities and colleges typically expect only one thing from you, which is what are your marks on some kind of an entrance exam. and they'll compare that to a lookup table where they will see some numbers and groupings, and based on that, they will tell your result, right? So that is pretty much what the situation is in India. But abroad is a very different story, and US is actually the most interesting admission system that I've ever seen, the US undergraduate admission system. It's extremely meaningful and worthwhile to do your bachelor's abroad, but what would you have to do to get there and how different it is from the Indian system? That's what we're going to learn today. So a little bit of an introduction about me. My name is Pavithra. And like many of you, I also wanted to pursue my bachelor's degree in the US. I eagerly gave my SATs. I did not go for, I wasn't interested in IIT coaching and all of that. But my parents said that they were not going to send me abroad for undergrad. And that was really crushing experience for me. Somehow I managed to claw my way back and I went abroad for my master's to Stanford. I was very fortunate to receive a full fellowship to attend there. But I've always nourished and cherished the dream of doing one's undergrad degree abroad, because as every parent who's attending this session today knows, except for the very few topmost Indian universities, maybe I can count them with one or two hands, the rest of the universities have a very peculiar system called a semester exam, where students just have to start studying one day before the exam and they can do well in their college. Right? All the parents sitting here, if you agree with me, I'm sure many of you relate to what I'm saying. That system has not changed one bit. So even today, bearing a very few institutes in India, you will see that all your nieces and nephews and friends and relatives who are going to college nowadays, they study only during the study holidays and they start studying just the day before the exam. So you can imagine the kind of ROI that you're getting for your 4 years of undergraduate investment for Indian universities. So imagine just completely, the different education system, what you would do for your undergrad, and that's kind of what we're talking about. So I wish I had gone for my undergrad, and I'm so happy that I'm enabling today, along with the rest of my fabulous team, a lot of students to undertake this very memorable and highly impactful journey. So what did I do after Stanford? I got into tech. I loved my field. I was very passionate about scaling things. Education was very close to my heart. So I did found a couple of tech companies, along with, again, fantastic team, launched multiple mobile applications for Galvanize Global Education. Together, we have more than 1 million downloads. And we have also guided hundreds, actually thousands of students for admissions at various universities abroad, more than 1,000 universities across 18 countries, with tons of Ivy League admits in them. So what do we do at Galvanize? Basically, we are an end-to-end provider of personalized solutions for anyone who wants to pursue their higher degree abroad. So whether you want to pursue your bachelor's, master's, PhD, or MBA, whichever country that you want to study in, everything that is needed for this journey is something that we will be there with you throughout. So for undergrad, that in fact starts with something called profile building, because like I said, the universities abroad have very different expectations. They're looking for more than just your entrance exam marks. So how to build your profile in such a way that it stands out in the crowd of applications that they receive. That's profile building. That is a service that we provide right from grade 9. So this is something that we offer to students in grade 9, 10, 11, 12. That is the profile building. Then we also help you with the complete test preparation, whichever exam that you need to take to study abroad, the GRE, the TOEFL, the SAT, and especially the SAT for undergrad, and the IELTS and TOEFL for English fluency. So following that, we guide on how to select universities, how to write your essays in such a way that they stand out for admissions officials, and all through right till the guidance on financing and visa and pre-departure. So everything end-to-end that you need for admission. So this is essentially what we do. And these are some of the many universities that our undergraduate students have joined. In other words, these are students, we have sent students to bachelor's degrees at these universities. And I'm so happy to say that 75% of our students have joined the top 100. They've got admits from the top 100 globally ranked universities. I'm not talking just the top 100, in India. I'm talking abroad or in one country. Globally, top 100 universities. All these universities that you see here on your screen, where we have got admits for our students. And believe it or not, each of these universities is actually ranked higher than the best of, let's say, best engineering institute in India, which is IIT Bombay or IIT Delhi or whatever. These are all ranked higher on the QS Global News rankings. So say hello to our team. You've already met me, and we also have our co-founders, Ram Srinivasan and Shriram Venkatraman. Ram is from IIM Ahmedabad, where he did his MBA. And Shriram did his BTech at IIT Madras. And he went on to pursue his PhD in New York with full scholarship. And interestingly, halfway through his PhD, he realized he was more interested in educating the next generation of Indians rather than doing further research in shipbuilding. So that's Shriram for you. Very interesting life decisions. Also ably supported by my team, we have Jayanti, who heads our entire servicing, whether it is our test prep and admissions counseling. She has a PhD in mechanical engineering, no less, from the University of Tennessee in the US. And we also have Rohini, our very able product analyst. She holds an MBA from the University of North Texas. So as you can see, a lot of us have actually experienced the study abroad journey, and we have come back to India, and essentially what motivates us is to scale our journey for the next generation. And we wish to provide through our organization, through Galvanize Global Education, we wish to provide to this generation of students who wants to study abroad something. We want to give them something that we never had when we were applying to universities abroad, and that is highly personalized yet extremely professional guidance at every step. So that is what we aspire to offer here at Galvanize. So now that you have listened to my introduction, and I'm sure you're very eager to hear from Ms. Shanthi, I would like to ask you, where exactly are you right now in your study abroad journey? This is a very deep question, so please read the answer choices carefully and then tell us exactly where you stand. The reason we ask this question is because the mindset is more important to the outcome. So how successful you are and when you'll be successful depends on what your mindset is when you start out. So please let us know where exactly you are. Are you exploring whether you want to study abroad? Have you decided you want to study abroad, but you've not yet started taking any action? Maybe you're just planning how to go about it. Or perhaps you have decided to start taking some action. You're evaluating personalized guidance or professional counseling or test preparation support on how to go about the process. Maybe you're thinking, yeah, where to go with.
Hi, Pavithra. You're on mute.
So thank you so much for actually answering that important question, because what I meant is that if all of you know where you stand in terms of your mindset, then half your outcome is achieved if you know where you stand today, right? Then you can plan and we can guide you on planning the next steps. So let's dive in. Today we are going to go very in depth. We have very fortunate to have with us an official representative from the organization called Education USA. Well, very, very warm welcome to the wonderful Shanthi Mohan, and I will tell you more about her shortly. So she is from Education USA. She will talk to you about her organization, and she is going to guide you in a very detailed way on how exactly you can go about the process, right? It's not as simple as at the end of your 12th standard, you fill up some application forms. Applying to the US is quite complex and very rewarding though, but she will be able to guide you on what are the different steps that you will need to take at every stage, right? Be it in your school, high school, grade 9, grade 10, everything. So she will talk to you about that. And then she will talk to you about, once you've built a compelling personal profile, what is it that, what are the key elements of a successful college application? Then what about application deadlines? What are the it's unlike it's very complex, the system. So she is going to actually give you the full gist on how there are very different kinds of application deadlines. And once you commit to something, you can't really back out easily. There are all kinds of interesting scenarios there. And she'll also touch upon the financial considerations that you should keep in mind while planning. And finally, what are the steps to follow for the visa process and the pre-departure preparation? So it is now time for the second poll here. Any of you, do you plan to take the SAT exam? Have you already taken the exam? Do you plan to, you're going to prepare for the exam? Where do you stand with respect to the SAT prep? This is important for her to tailor her suggestions as well in terms of knowing where exactly the audience is. For example, if you don't know about the SAT at all, you don't know what that exam is, then, and which seems like a good 40-45% of you actually don't know, are not aware, then we can spend a little more time on the exam. And that's an important exam that certain US universities consider as part of their application evaluation. All right. So seems to be split, like with 40% of you not knowing about the exam, but 60% of you very clear on, about the exam, you're planning to take it. Some of you have booked it already, and a couple of you have even completed the SAT exam. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce my wonderful co-host here today. Please say hello to Miss Shanthi. She's got such an interesting background. Someone who started out as a techie, like many of us, more than 20 years of experience in the software field in India and abroad. She has a very interesting education background, undergraduate degree in physics. Wow, I'm so excited to see women in physics. And moved on to technology. And like me, from her initial career in technology, she gravitated towards education, finding that, look, technologists love scaling things. They don't like to do the same thing one at a time. They love scaling. And what avenue to scale than guiding the next generation, where you're able to impact so many people in one shot, where you can guide them. And that is how she eventually became an advisor at the U.S. India Educational Foundation Center, or the USIEF. This, my friends, is a very hoary and ancient organization. It was very much there when I was studying to go to the US. And this is pretty much the only resource I had. So I spent a lot of time at the USIEF office near the Gemini flyover. It's part of the the building that houses the American consulate in Chennai. And here, Shanthi guides students on how to go about your journey to pursue your education in the US. Right. So, we can do all sorts of degrees there, but today her focus is going to be on the undergraduate degree, in other words, bachelor's degree. So I will hand over the presentation to Miss Shanthi. When would you like me to do the slides for you, or would you like to share the screen and navigate yourself, whichever your comfort is? You're on mute. Would you please unmute? Can you kindly unmute?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I'm so sorry. How much ever a techie you are, it is always a learning when you begin a presentation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pavithra, for that warm welcome and wonderful introduction. And thank you, students and parents. As Pavithra rightly mentioned, you have taken that initiative to be here on a Sunday morning. That shows that there is definitely some interest. I mean, as much as I always say, like, it's not that everyone should go to US. It is all about what is there for you and how are you going to make your decisions. Because from the poll I see that some of you have not even started thinking about it. Some of you are already in the process. I mean, that's the typical scenario that we also expect. So it may be that after this session there can be some interest level spring in you, so that you probably think about going for your undergrad education in the US. As Pavithra mentioned many things before, and I think that set the stage for the presentation, so I don't want to go over them again. Ultimately, parents are one of the important factors to make a decision on sending the students for undergraduate education in the US, not only in the US, for that matter, anywhere in any country. Okay. So without much delay, let me begin the presentation. So I'm going to talk about our organization first. Education USA is the official source on US higher education, and we are part of the US Department of State network. In other words, we are completely supported by the US government, or it's an initiative by the US government for international students like you to get the most accurate, comprehensive, current, and unbiased information. When I say unbiased information, we give equal importance to every institution in the US as long as they are accredited. It's not only to the Ivy Leagues. It can be a public university or a small private university or a liberal arts science and college, whoever it may be. We give all the equal importance and information about those institutions. This is a global program, and you will find the program in many countries. And in India, we have 6 centers, and I'm joining you from the center in Chennai, which is located inside the US Consulate General, which is near Gemini flyover. Likewise, we have in other metros as well. I think the display shows you where all we are located. This is an important process. I think some of the poll questions were more geared around this. So the decision making is like all of us go through it or process it in a different way. Sometimes, or in the recent trend, I would say that a lot of students, after finishing their high school, prefer to take a gap year and try and explore what do they really want to do, either in their bachelor's or in the future. So it's not something seen as a bad element if you take a gap year these days. It's more for a self-exploration. Again, I'm not advocating that everyone should take a gap year after they finish their 12th grade. It's just that see your situation, see how you are mentally placed, consult your family, and then accordingly you can take it. But the gap year is not about taking rest because you did so many exams before this and you really want to unwind yourself. Yes, a bit of unwinding, and at the same time, you need to really spend it well so that you're trying to understand what is your potential and how well can you use it in choosing the right platform, that is your higher education. As much as we say, please explore multiple countries sometimes, because you really want to compare what is good where, right? So you can think about multiple countries, different types of programs, maybe a professional degree or a non-professional degree. if you work on this decision making process, it will help you to really narrow down your choices better, and you'll be able to take a well informed decision. I suppose many of you here are probably in the 9th grade, some of you in the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So ideally, I would say a higher education process or post-secondary education after high school should begin from 9th, irrespective of whether you're going to a going to a country outside of India, or you're going to start your journey within India, because the things are changing. It's not just about, preparing yourself for a particular thing, but even to generally develop yourself as a more matured adult, this process is always recommended. This roadmap probably help you understand what I really mean. So in the grade 9, it's more of parents also should expose the children to different options that are available for them. So what happens is, when you're in the 9th, within a year, when you come to 10th, before you write the 10th exam, if you are going to be in the national board or in the state board, it is obvious that the schools are asking you to define what is the path that you're going to take in your 11th and 12th grade. Say maybe science stream, maybe commerce stream, or a mix of tech, or just humanities. So whatever it may be, definitely there is a decision happening at every stage of your grade in the high school. So the grade 9, it's good to understand, what am I going to do in the future? You may still change. Maybe today you want to become an astronaut. Again, in the 3 months later, you feel astronaut is so difficult, I don't want to go through all that. So I want to become somebody want to analyze the data. It can be anything. See, things do change. Don't worry about it. But keep a track of what you have explored, and see how are you going to nurture it in the following years. So this is primarily for parents also, to take your children through this process, so that you're not in the last minute searching for options. Suddenly you realize your friend says, oh, US is the best place to send your kids, and you can't literally force the child to do everything that you have to do at that point and then send them to US. As Pavithra rightly mentioned in the beginning, it's a process, and it is something called profile building. So when I say profile building, this is now a common term for every institution that you apply. Some, especially the new gen institutions in India, are also looking for this sort of profiles from the students. Okay, so this kind of would have given you an idea about what I'm talking. And so now we'll slowly move into the US concepts. So this picture denotes how many students are currently in the US pursuing various levels of their education. Every time when I talk about a country, obviously you are going to ask me, what is the proof that there are many Indian students studying? So this is I would say this is the biggest proof that I can give you, that 25% of the international student population is from India. So which means there is quite a lot of interest for students to go and study in the US. Same way, you may ask me a question, what do they want to go and study? So typically, we all know the very fact that some of our national system categorize us as science students, non-science students, literally drives everybody to go to fields like engineering, math and computer science, so on and so forth. It doesn't mean that there is a dearth for the humanities and social sciences. Definitely not. More and more people are now trying to combine social sciences with technology, business and management with technology, so that they are in sync with how the world is growing. We all know now AI and ML, everything. In our everyday life, we see the impact of AI. Of course, sometimes I don't even have to use my brain to order through Amazon. That does all the work for me, and I have to just put a click, right? So the impact of AI is just not a technology or engineering or com science. It's all about how our everyday life is going to be. So even if I have to make a decision in my business, I still depend on AI for that, right? So in that sense, as much as we see more and more students are going towards the STEM field, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, there are also another group of students who go to either say a business management or social science program, but try and find out how can they integrate the concept of science and technology into it. So There is also another reason for more students towards leaning towards STEM is that there is a stay back period after you complete your higher education in the US. So if you are doing a program in STEM, the stay back period is 36 months or 3 years. But if you're going for a program which is not either designated as STEM or not focused towards STEM, then you get only a 12 months or 1 year to stay back after you successfully graduate from your education. So this is also one of the prominent reason for more and more students to lean towards STEM, and also to cater to their needs. Universities are also coming up with many STEM focused and STEM designated programs so that the students really get benefited from that. Okay, now we are going to talk about how do we develop a story about yourself. So when I say story, obviously underlining that it needs to be a true story. You cannot cook up, do something at the last minute, and so on and so forth, right? So how do I develop my story? There are n number of options for it. Okay. First, this screen, whatever you are seeing right now, I don't think this is alien to you, because most of the words that or the images that I put here definitely resonates with students from any of these 4 years of high school. Say, somebody here might be so much interested in research, but you did not get an opportunity for it. Yes, you can indulge on even independent research, take some guidance, and even can reach out to, say, professors or somebody in some universities where if you're going to have a novel idea about doing a research. Internships may not be very common in India, but nowadays I see that a lot of students also do internships during their 9th grade summer break or 10th grade summer break, so that they get a feel of how is it to be in a organization. So likewise, I'm not going to explain about every one of them. So these are primarily the concepts with which a student is able to develop a profile for them. So when I say profile, don't squeeze everything when you're in the 11th grade. Do everything gradually so that you get the right mix of building a profile for you. Again, this is not a checkbox. It's not that all the 8 things that I have shown here need to be there in your profile. You may exhibit it in any, I mean, there can be multiple ways to exhibit it. So make sure that you use your own style and it's not just a copy paste format. Okay, fine. So we're going to dwell deep into what are the elements that I should basically think when I go for building my profile. Obviously, to begin with, it is your skills, right? Each of us have a different skill. It is just that sometimes we don't really sit and analyze. So as much as I know that Pavithra and all her team members, most of them did have a great experience of studying in the US. I'm telling you today, I don't have an experience of studying in the US. But what I feel my skill is that I can go on reading and connecting with people, literally keep sending emails to most of the universities and understanding how things work. Whenever I get an opportunity, I be a part of the virtual meeting that they do. And then, of course, my organization did send me for training and others, where I went to institutions. I just had, even attended classes. So it's just that, you start exploring what you're good at, and that's what we mean by skill building, right? So any of these things you can do, and there is no one way that says that you should be very good at leadership. If you don't have leadership skills, then I don't think the universities are going to accept you. See, everyone cannot be a leader. We know that, right? Sometimes we are a good team player to support that leader. Even that can be one skill that you can highlight. Same way, let's talk about knowledge. For knowledge, I think there is abundance of knowledge. I see whenever I meet some of you, I feel literally regenerated. The kind of creativity that comes from you, the information that you take from many other places is phenomenal. I don't think when I was in your age, I even explored any of it. It's just that we do a lot of book reading. That's part of our culture, our family built in. But nowadays, I see the book reading has come down a bit, but I see that the students are or using other mediums to sort of explore. But still, I will always tell the students that you need to read a lot of books. Interestingly, when you send your application to the US university, some of them ask you, what are the recent books that you read? And what is your standpoint or what is your view about those books, right? So make sure you start developing that hobby. Then comes talents. So skills is something that you sort of build, and talents are inherent to you. And I'm sure some of you are very good performing arts, very good at fine arts. So whatever your skills are, keep doing them. I have to mention one point here. Like typically, what happens when you come to the ninth grade or when you come to the 10th grade, parents feel it's a lot to be with the academics, so they say, hey, drop off the dance class, drop off the theater class. So sometimes they don't even let you paint because they say, oh, why are you wasting your time? Please go study. So that's not the right approach, I would say. Even if you're going to study in India, I'm saying your mind shouldn't be always thinking about how to write an exam. The mind should also think about various activities around you, because these become your stimulant. So when you do a nice painting, you feel like you're so fresh and you can probably go back and study for your exam. Same way, you just dance for 10 minutes, whatever form of dance or singing or whatever it is, but you go back to studying, it really helps. So never stop the talents that you have. Please keep building them. Yeah. The next part, honors, I don't have to say much about this because most of you are engaged in some form of academically driven activities through the schools. So keep doing them, because these shows how much of academic rigor that you have taken in the high school, so that they also know that you are an academically very strong student. But for that reason, don't burn yourself, but make sure that you have mix of everything. Then comes projects. I do see that a lot of students these days in the schools, they also encourage them to do projects. So projects can be independent research, or you can even conduct survey, whatever it is. So make sure that you are able to you think of something that you can either do on your own, or with a group of students, or with probably even independent, maybe with your teacher, so on and so forth. The self-learning, I don't have to say much about it, because all of you are in some way or the other connected with some self-learning program and community involvement. I see that there are a lot of students who have also started engaging themselves in volunteering. Here I have to mention one point. Probably after my next screen I will talk about it. Okay, so then you can also become a member of some clubs in the school, or there are also many student memberships are given to some professional bodies. It can be about, say, developing sustainability, water resources management body, can be anything. Just seek for wherever there is a student membership available. And if there is a student membership available, but they are not enrolling you, and if they need a recommendation from the school, please do talk to your school, so that if they become an institutional member, students like you can automatically become a member of such organizations. Getting experience, which I already spoke about, the internships part, or job shadowing. See, the job shadowing is an important aspect. I said about being an astronaut suddenly one day and then changing your viewpoint to something else, right? So whenever you talk about a profession, say somebody says, I want to become a doctor. So this is something we commonly hear. I want to become an engineer. So what happens for a doctor, we have a lot of people around us who are examples. So it's easy for us to know what it entails me to do. Suddenly, I want to become a psychologist. Suddenly, I want to become a influencer in Instagram. So for some of these, we may not have somebody around us. So it is always good to identify, how can I reach out to a psychologist, or how can I reach out to a creative writer, or how can I reach out to somebody who's a theater specialist. So look for these and try and do a job shadowing. Then you will know whether you really like that job, and that helps you to sort of say streamline how I want to take my path further from this, right? Likewise, youth organization. So youth organization are one great way. So UNICEF and UNESCO gives a lot of opportunity for students to discover lot of projects and also some activities. In fact, Model United Nations, I'm sure most of you know, there is this ISEC is an organization that sort of builds volunteership in students, and also they teach a lot of leadership activity. They also talk to you about how you actively engage yourself in social media and use it for spreading a social cause. So it's like these sort of organizations give a different perspective to your life and the future career, right? So make sure you're able to get such opportunities, and definitely avail them. So all these things that I spoke about can help you build a very strong profile. Again, I'm once again repeating, it's not necessary that you must have all the 7 or 8 things that I have mentioned. You can have even 1 or 2 of them. Coming to this, where do I get such opportunities? How do I really scout for it? Here is where, when you come from a state board or a national board scheme, the schools themselves don't have much of these program built in. Whereas if you come from say an international curriculum like a Cambridge curriculum or IB board and other things, they have most of these concepts inbuilt into their curricula, so that for those students it becomes always easier to build these profile as they progress in their high school. But it doesn't mean that state board children or the national board are not the right fit for US institutions. They are definitely the right fit for US institutions, because their academic rigor definitely matches the expectation. However, even with their limited resources, there are many avenues which children from these boards should think about. And if you explore them, obviously you will also have a very well-rounded profile to submit to a US university. Whenever you go blank and you have no idea, like, how can I do an independent project, or how can I really do something on my own? The sustainable development goals, I know everyone knows the 17 SDG, because it is part of now our school systems, that the schools have to do projects that are related to this, right? So this is a great opportunity for you. Pick any topic that you think you will have more resources to work with, and definitely your entire profile can be even built based on them, doing various activities like knowledge building, or taking part in a debate, or part of a voluntary organization. Anything you can definitely work on. Okay, so far we have just discussed about how do I develop my story, basically building your profile. Now that I have a profile, how do I really present it to a university so that I'm able to get into my dream institution, or the institution that's going to give me a great educational experience? As Pavithra mentioned in the beginning about the profile, it is also important that it's just not about building your profile. You have to present it the right way. So how are we going to present it? This is what we are going to talk about in Tell Your Story. So before that, it is important to understand, how do I really prepare or plan myself for a US higher education? We recommend close to 12 to 18 months of preparation, which means the ideal time to start this preparation about knowing institution, or how do I present my profile, or how do I look for institutions, all these should begin as early as your 11th grade. Because the more time you spend on researching about all these options, you will definitely get into the best school possible for you, right? So we sort of give you a guideline as 12 to 18 months. So typically, let's say that I'm in my 12th grade now. I should have started this process like in February 2024 for a school, for attending an university in August or September 2025. So this is typically a basic outline for everybody to understand that the US higher education requires a lot of preparation from the student, and this preparation doesn't go waste. No, even if you decide not to go to US, you still have a very rich profile that can help you go through your undergrad education in the US. So make sure you give yourself ample time to work on this process. The Education USA centers across the world advocates what we call as the 5 steps to US study. And these steps are very well laid out, and we recommend 12 to 18 months to complete them. So it begins with researching your options, understanding how are you going to fund your education, prepare a stellar application, get admission, go for a student visa process, get your visa approved, and then prepare to leave the country, which is the very last step. All these steps are equally important, and some of the elements under each of these steps requires parallel preparation, meaning I can't wait to complete the step 1 and then I go to step 2, step 3 like that. Sometimes it has to be parallelly taken across. So now I'll just show you an infographic that tells you about that 18 months thing, right? So I start in February 2024 to go to an institution in September 2025. So the first few months, if you look at until April, in fact, up to August, I work on finalizing my universities. While I research about university, I also think about how are the scholarship opportunities there, how much should my parents pay for my education, what are the other ways by which they can support my education. All these sort of individual questions have to be analyzed, and you should get answers from the research that you are going to conduct. And if you look at starting from May to September, you will be preparing your standardized exam. Pavithra already put a poll on SAT exam preparation, right? The SAT is known as Scholastic Aptitude Test, which is administered by an organization called College Board, is like a benchmark exam, or sometimes easy to say, one form of standardized entrance exam for the university to understand about a student's capability in math and English. So when I say standardized test, these tests will have the same questions and question paper across the world. So any student, a student who takes the SAT from US, or a student who takes the SAT from India or Afghanistan or wherever they are, everybody will be attempting to the same question paper. That's what they mean by standardized test. So your preparation, it's not that for Indian students one standard, another student one standard. That is why the scores on standardized test certainly helps the university to understand uniformly the skills of the student in terms of problem solving and communication, more towards English, right? And I think Galvanize gives you a lot of support on preparing for these exams, so on and so forth. The English proficiency exam are also needed for applying to a US university. Here, what happens? They test you on reading, listening, speaking, and writing skills. As much as most of you are coming from an English medium school, we don't have mechanism to test your speaking skills in any of our English classes, right? So that is one reason. The second reason being, we are coming from a non-native English speaking country, so it helps the university to understand the proficiency level of the student, because all the teaching and communication in the US is going to be only in English. So to make sure that they are getting the right kind of students, and the students also don't need to prepare much to start attending a US institution. Now, if you look at when do you actually submit the application? So typically, when we talk about our Indian system, we wait for the 12th exam to get finished. So sometimes you write the JE for IIT or anything. Sometimes if it's a private university, you may write an entrance exam. But typically, the applications most of the time get submitted only after you get your scores in the 12th grade, which means you don't really take much of efforts when you're in the 11th or 12th for the college preparation. You typically do all the things only in the last leg of your high school. Whereas in the case of US, what happens, even before you complete your 12th grade, the student should be able to submit their application. So that's why we have put the application submitting as August to March, because the portals or the websites open by August, so that if the student is completely ready with all the information, they can even apply by August or September for the next year admission. Early you early you apply, it helps the university to understand your keenness to come there and your well preparedness, and that can also be one reason for getting a good admit or some scholarships, so on and so forth, right? But if you look at actually the visa process and the departure happens in the last 6 months only, and not before that. So major chunk of your works happen beginning of say the second semester of 11th grade until to the first semester of 12th grade. That's when your entire preparation basically happen, right? So keep this in mind and align yourself with that. And this is the US higher education system. So typically, if you look, everybody will have up to the 12th grade. And then after the 12th grade, people do a bachelor's degree. And if you look at any kind of bachelor's program you apply, whether you apply for a history or you apply for economics or you apply for engineering, everything requires 4 years of education. So the bachelor's degree in the US in general is for 4 years. However, the institutions give you a flexibility to complete them even a little earlier. It's up to the student how well they can prep themselves to condense the entire program within 3 years or 3.5 years. Sometimes the university allows you to finish the program by 5 years also. So if the student wants to take a pace, maybe take one semester abroad and then do less number of studying. And then after that, they take one more extra semester to finish their subject. So it is such a flexible system. It allows the student to realize themselves and give them space to do all these stuff. So once you finish your bachelor's degree, you go for doctoral and master's and also professional degree. So that goes to saying there is no direct entry to a medical program in the US nor a law program in the US. A student need to do a 4-year pre-professional degree and then write entrance exams to go for a professional degree program in the US. So this is just for you to know so that we don't get that question of how do I apply for MBBS in the US. So that's not a straightforward mechanism. Okay, so what are the unique features and why somebody should go and do their undergrad education is that you can start your journey with an undeclared major. As I said in the beginning, sometimes we are forced to take a track, but we are always unclear as to what major, whether do I want to become, say, BSc in physics, or I want to do a BE electronics engineering, or I want to do a BA history. All this, if I'm not clear, I can always apply to a US university with an undeclared major, because universities allow me time until end of my 4th semester, that is second year, to declare my major. My interest can keep changing, and finally I decide, oh, this is what I want to specialize in. And the remaining 2 years, I do a lot of coursework related to my major. Same way, I can pursue. Sometimes I'm an extra enthusiastic person. I like physics and I also like music. I can either do a double degree like BS in physics and BA in music, or I can do BS in mechanical engineering with audio engineering minor. So my interest can be anything and I can pursue things like that, right? And as I said, the majors can be interdisciplinary. I can do biology and information science so that I want to become a bioinformatics person. I can probably do, say, economics and also do mathematics because I want to become somebody in the computational economics, or I want to become like an econometrist, whatever be my profession. So it can be interdisciplinary like this or multidisciplinary. When I say multidisciplinary, I decide which are the subjects that I want to combine, and I want to get a degree on this, for which I should submit to the university a complete case study or a capstone project, we say, explaining how am I going to integrate all the 3 subjects and what is the benefit that I'm going to get from them. So there are multiple interesting ways to do your undergrad education. This is one reason why as Pavithra mentioned in her initial talk as well, that she very much wanted to go for undergrad because it gives you really a very great exposure. They give you exposure to research. They give you exposure to internship. They also give exposure to a lot of leadership activities. So definitely that prepares you to be a very well-rounded, matured individual who can further go for your maybe a PhD program or a master's program or even to a career market. Yeah. So these are the various types of institutions you will see in the US. Community colleges, they are like a two-year degree granting institutions, and they award a associate degree. This is very helpful for students who are undecided about their major. They can do 2 years of their course at a community college, and then they get a clarity on the subject that they want to specialize, and then transfer all the credits that they have earned and do a remaining 2 years at a university or a college to get a bachelor's degree. Public universities are completely funded by the respective state government in which those universities are located, and private universities, as you know, they run on endowments, and obviously the fee that they collect from the students, everything contributes to their development. Specialized institutions are unidimensional institutions which offer only one line of education. For example, game designing can be one, culinary arts could be one, or fashion technology could be one. Anything, even if you want to be a portfolio builder, you want to be a audio engineer, you have many such institutions which only specialize. In fact, conservatories, all these come under a specialized institution. As I said, any of the professional degree, it is always either you can go for an integrated program or a standalone BA, BS you can finish and then take up an entrance exam to go for the professional degrees. And there are multiple deadlines and multiple intakes. Intakes, I mean admission cycle. So if I want to, let's say, start my journey by August or September, that's called a fall session. So for a fall session, deadlines will open from previous year October until January, February, sometime March, April of the next year. Let's say I finish my 12th and I want to start on the application process after finishing 12th, but I don't want to waste 1 year of my time. I want to go immediately, I apply and go. Then students can think about a winter or a spring session, which is from January to February. So for an institution which is beginning in Jan-Feb, your application should go to them by August to November, so that you get your admission and start journey from January. Likewise, there are multiple things, but one important aspects here is that fall is the major admission cycle during which all programs are offered by the university, and they have plenty of scholarship opportunities during that time. Around spring, sometimes universities don't even offer a bachelor's degree during spring. They insist that the student come only for a fall session. And at the same time, number of scholarships are also very minimal during spring compared to what you would see in fall. So we largely recommend that, again, it is an individual student's perspective, but by and large, we see more students move towards going to the institution during fall session. The others are self-explanatory, and I'm just going to show the deadlines part of it. So there's a very, very unique system in the US because, see, we know that every college in India has probably one deadline. But maybe when you go to your master's or MBA programs, there they give you multiple deadlines, right? But in the US, whether it is undergrad, grad, or primarily these two, and for PhD also, there are two deadlines. They give multiple options to you. So if you look at this early decision, which is the beginning, so this is called a binding application deadline. What I mean by binding is, let's say that we have 5 different universities that you have selected in the US. Among that, you decide that you want to go to one particular university. Come what may, you will only go there and study. Say, for example, I'm a student who is very keen on getting only to Harvard. I don't want to go to any other university in the US, even if I get an admit. So, and I know I have a good profile, and I know even if a Harvard is going to cost me more, that's fine. My parents can afford. Or I'm 100% sure for my kind of profile, I have seen Harvard gives me a lot of scholarship. So with all these checkboxes being leaning more towards Harvard, you can definitely apply for a early decision in Harvard. So what happens is you are committing yourself to getting admission only in Harvard. And when they give a decision, let's say they have not given you any scholarship, they say that you have to pay the full fee, but still you are clear in your mind that you want to go to only Harvard, then you can go ahead with that. Suppose you get the admission, suddenly parents say, oh no, our financial situation is not so great now, I can't send you to an institution where I have to pay you the full fee, and you need to say definitely have scholarship. In this case, what happens, financially you are not unable to get into this institution. Only if you have a reason where your financial position is not allowing you to get into the college, you can withdraw from this particular university. Even when you withdraw, some of the early decision things do charge you a penalty, but this you need to check with the university whether it is always mandatory or not. But withdrawing requires a lot of formalities to be completed. So always make sure, unless and until you are 100% sure of getting into that institution, please do not resort to the early decision part. Whereas you can put otherwise early action, where the early action tells the university that the student is keen to come to the university. So they review your application and give a decision, but they give you time until May 1st to commit to them. So you can apply to multiple universities with early action. So the advantage is that even before you finish your board exam, you know which are the universities who have given you admission, and you can either you can choose the best from that. Okay, so these are few things that you need to understand. There is also a rolling where there is no definitive deadline. University keeps receiving the application and they review the give you the decision within 3 weeks. But what they do is, like, if you send the application to a rolling by December, you will get an admission for the coming fall. But if you are going to send the application to a rolling admission in January or February, by then they would have probably filled the class, and they may say that, sorry, we cannot give for this fall, we can only give you an admission to the spring or the fall. So all these things, I know I've gone a bit too much into this, but I thought if I explain that at this stage, people who are going to work on it will be able to really plan themselves pretty well on this. Okay. So now we are going to just slowly take a quick look at each of these steps that we advocate. So the first is, US has 3,000 accredited institutions, and preparing the best from them is not like hearsay or not hearing from your aunt and uncle. You need to really do a thorough research about them. Set what are your priorities for choosing an institution. It can be funding, it can be a location, or it can be the size of the university, type of the university. All these things you can set as your priorities, and based on this you can filter them. So the next question comes to is, how am I going to filter this? Can I just do a Google? Google is not the right thing. There are many dedicated search engines for finding the universities of your choice. So I'm going to just showcase few screenshots of them, so that might certainly help you. Before we go with that, one important thing is, there can be n number of institutions in the US, but whichever institution you are applying to, please make sure they are accredited by the US Department of Education. So whenever you select a university, you can go to this US Department of Education website, type in the name of the university in the search box, and it will list out the accreditation status and the validity of the accreditation. Only if that is beyond the time that you are applying, please choose those institutions and apply. So these are great resources or search engines through which you can find universities of your choice. The Big Future is part of College Board, the company that administers the SAT exams, and few other as well, which I'll mention in the application. And the College Navigator is a National Center for Education Statistics maintained by the US government, which will give you a 360-degree overview of a institution. It will talk everything about the institution, location, industry, kind of people studying, how long they take to finish the degree, how many of them successfully get placement, what is the average pay. most of it will cover. So this is one, I would say, like a typical great handbook for people to know about every single university. And if in case you are you want to understand about every single college by watching a video or by watching the say probably a talk by a current student or a professor, etc., I would recommend going to the college tour. College tour is a Netflix series. You can search for this. It has about I think almost 7 episodes, I remember. I'm sorry, 7 seasons, with each season with 8 or 9 episodes of different colleges in the US. So this is one great resource for you to take a look at. They talk about the campus, they take you through the campus, admission requirements, and interviews with the the current students, etc. This is for somebody who is going to look at community colleges. You can always take the information from the community college website. Now we are going to talk about funding. So there are when we talk about funding, the first question comes to us is scholarship, right? There are two categories in the US, which is called, one is called scholarship, the other one is called financial aid. There is definitely a fine line difference between these two. Scholarship is basically awarded looking at probably the academic profile or another holistic profile that is set by the university, and a student who matches all the rubrics set by the university gets the scholarship. The financial aid, as the name aid suggests, is it like the student presents present their financial profile to the institution, and also ask for a support from the institution. So the institution, depending upon their policy, availability of funding, what they do is, apart from sometimes giving a general scholarship, can also give you a support money to study in that particular university. The support money most of the time is what we call as financial aid, and the support money is usually given as support, and they don't expect you to pay back after you complete your education. However, there are certain universities whose policy may be they give you everything like a loan grant, but and then after you complete your education, you have to pay back to them. So there are multiple ways the system works, and whenever you are selecting an university, understand their scholarship and financial aid uh, profile. Some universities would put in their website that we are 100% need blind. Some university might say we are not 100% blind, but we award based on the need of a student. So this is what we call it as need blind institutions and need aware institutions. So the need blind, they are going to have a different set of policies to award the scholarship or financial aid to you. Whereas a need aware institution expect the student to send a financial profile to them. They look at the student profile, whether it matched their policy for awarding an aid, and they also look at the need of the student. Sometimes I can spend, let's say, only 10,000 for the education, whereas the university fees is 40,000, which means you are expecting a support of 30,000 from the university. The university cannot sometimes give you all the 30,000. They may probably give you another 10,000, and the remaining 20,000 you have to arrange. So this is what mostly the need aware institutions do. Whereas a need blind institution look at your profile and say, hey, I'm awarding you a 30,000 USD scholarship, which is for every year or for all the 4 years. Or they may say, we award you 40,000, 10,000 for each year. So these are the different types of options that you can identify in a university when you are looking at them. So this is typically what you'll be spending for the education. One is the tuition and fees, the other one is the living cost. In some, depending on the location, the living cost can change. And being an undergrad, most of the time they have to stay only in the campus. However, there are many universities in the US which says only 1 year in the campus, and beyond that they can find housing outside. Outside housing most of the time work cheaper because you go in a sharing accommodation, cook your own food and all that. Whereas in a dorm, it is always a little expensive. But but parents feel safety wise, being in a dorm is always good compared to, because the students are still young, they have to independently manage, like house rent and all that. So less of hassle for you when you are inside the dorm. And these are the various forms of funding usually available. So university awards scholarships. Parents and family can either take loans or you can utilize your savings for education to support for the child's education. Multiple people can support one student's education. And once you get an admission, you become eligible to even take up on-campus work. But invariably, this happens only after your first year because you still need to settle in the college. After 2 semesters, most of the universities award you the on-campus work option. And when the school is not functioning, after 2 years, you become eligible to take up internships outside of the college, maybe work in an organization and things like that. And after you successfully graduate, you are eligible for OPT, that is the stay back period that I mentioned. It's called optional practical training. So all these put together, there is always a good ROI, which helps the student to, even if they have taken a loan, it helps them to reduce that burden, and it definitely helps them to pay back those loans as well. Beyond them, there are also several agencies, trust foundations in India and abroad, help students to get scholarships for their undergraduate education. So my advice to all the parents and students is that please keep looking for what we call as this common data set. Common data set is a annual document released by every single US university about how the funding situation in a US university, how many people got funding from them, how many students were admitted, how many were awarded admission, how many got admitted, how many got scholarship, how many of them from which country. All these sort of information is here. And not only that, they talk about the SAT score, SAT score projected for those students. They also talk about their what was their grades in the high school. So this is one great information for you to understand how your profile is more or less matching those who have got admissions and the scholarship from those institutions. For example, if I want to understand what is the Stanford common data set, I can simply Google Stanford CDS 2023-2024. So for that year, it will show me the PDF document I can download and read about it. And if you go to our official website, educationusa.state.gov, it will take you to several organizations outside of India that also provide scholarships and financial aid to the students. So I've just listed a few for them, like Microsoft and Society of Women Engineers Scholarship. Next Genius is for everybody, that is not gender specific. Science Ambassador Scholarship is also specifically for girl students. More and more emphasis is given for girl students in STEM. So all these could help. And of course, RISE is for everybody. So please take a look at all these scholarships. You may become eligible because these deadlines will come sometimes even before your application deadline. So start scouting about them from now on. I think I've taken a little more time. I'm so sorry about it. I hope, Pavithra, that's fine.
No, that's totally fine. Remember, our audience is here on a Sunday and they want to listen to the best and they want to get all the information. So this is so important, right? Like I tell our students a lot, look, your resume is going to be with you for life and you're going to do a bachelor's degree once in your life, right? Whatever you're doing that one time, you have to make sure that you have done all your research, you have put your heart and soul into it, the family is on the same page, right? So it's very, very important. Please take your time. There is no, I hope the audience agrees with me. And in any case, we will be sharing with them a recording so they can come, they are going to come back to this again and again. There's so much of information being shared today. It's very hard to register everything in one time. So even those who have attended will ask us for a recording and we will share so they can come back to it, make notes, go back. This is going to be an important tool with them throughout their admission journey. So please take your time, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So we spoke so much about scholarship, financial aid, etc., right? So I was telling you about some of these need-aware institutions, and they will want to know your financial profile. So there is a financial profile portal through which the parents have to submit their financial profile whenever they are applying to some of these need-aware institutions. Not only need-aware, generally for any private university, most of the private universities in the US do require what they call as a scholarship services profile. So this we call it as CSS profile. So it's a form by itself, and you have to go here, create a create a basic login profile, and then every parent, both the father and mother, have to submit their financial profile through this form, so that the university is able to get a first-hand information about the economic situation of the student. And the second one, the FAFSA, this is very specific to students who are American citizens. Indian students cannot, they don't need to fill the FAFSA, but American citizens definitely need to submit the FAFSA form. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Even in this, you will, so here what happens, in the CSS profile, you have to create a profile and submit it to various universities that you are selecting. Whereas in the FAFSA, it is a one single form that you fill, and you mention which are the universities you are planning to apply. So depending on the evaluation results, your funding, though it is a government fund, it will be dispersed to the student through the respective institution where they are going to start the journey. So FAFSA, I'm not elaborating much because this is very specific to only American citizens. If you are an international student, like non-American citizens, and if you are not applying to a private university, or and you are applying to mostly the public universities are really not asking for a financial profile at the time of applying. Most of the time, when they declare your admission, they may ask for the financial profile for them to understand how are you going to fund this education. So all these things are there for undergraduate students, but it all depends on the individual university to ask for this or not ask for this. Okay, so whenever you come to that stage, and obviously there will be more resources available on each of these websites, you can definitely look for them. So now that, let's say, we researched about institutions, we assessed how much funding I may get through them and how much should I be paying for this education, etc. And at the end of the step 1 and 2, I will have a handful of universities which perfectly match all my requirements. And at the same time, they are purse friendly. I go ahead preparing for the application package, or which in turn is basically the profile that you have created so far and how are you going to present them. So most of the US universities, if you look at, suppose I select 5 universities, it's not necessary that I should individually go to the university website and apply. There are several portals through which I can create a common profile and submit it to various universities. So when you shortlist universities, the universities will also say apply through Common App, apply through Coalition App, Universal Application, or maybe if it is an university in California, they may say that please apply through our portal, or if it's an university in Texas, they may say that please apply through Texas University Application Portal. So you may come across these names very often, but these are all the most prominent or popular application portals that you would come across. And the majority of the universities that you would choose invariably may form a part of the common application, which is the most widely used application portal. So in the portal, you will be submitting all the information for the university to look at and give you an admission. So how do you highlight your profile? You have to list all your academic and non-academic activities. It may be school-based, or during your 10th grade, you went on a summer program to a US university, or you went on a summer program to UK university. All this can be highlighted as part of your application profile. Everything that we already discussed, I've just put it as one more recap, so that you know that don't miss out on anything. Keep a journal of what you're doing right from 9th grade, so that when you actually come to the 12th grade and when you're filling up your applications for US universities, it really comes very handy. So I know all the parents invariably keep a track of what the child do, and even if the student forget, I'm sure the parents are there to remind them as to what you did in your 11th and 12th grade. Yeah. So now that we know what all we have to accumulate, And here is again a timeline. So as I said in the beginning, for a 2025, I will start from 2024 February, and now we are in September, right? By this time, at least, you must finish taking those standardized exam like SAT or ACT. ACT is offered by another company. It is the American College Test, and SAT is the Scholastic Aptitude Test. You can take either one of them. You don't need to take both of them because the standards set by both of them are on par. So the universities are okay to receive any one of these scores. And I also mentioned about early action, early decision, etc. Right? If you are targeting those things, remember, we are just a week away from October 1st. At least by October 10th, you should finish sending all of them, because those deadlines like early action or early decision invariably be on November 1st. There are also a couple of universities where the early action is going to be on October 15th. So depending on whom you are targeting, make sure you are ready with your application package. Others who are going for a regular deadline and you are not right now not prepared for this, don't worry, but don't delay it too further. At least by December, make sure that you have everything ready on, including your SAT scores, English proficiency scores, so on and so forth. As much as many universities say that SAT is optional, I personally recommend please take one of those standardized exams, because it always works as a profile enhancer for you. In the absence of not having many activities to showcase, even a standardized test taking is also one skill set that you can showcase to the university. So this is a typical application package that you would be sending. It's all online, and you have to submit your academic transcripts from grade 9 to 12. Typically, the 12th grade students, when you are applying, you're not going to have your 12th final marks, but your school will be able to give a predictive scores based on your performance in the 11th grade, 10th grade, 9th grade, or generally probably the first term exam in the 12th grade. They will be able to say how much are you capable of getting in your 12th grade. This is what we mean by predictive score. On the other hand, if you're a student who finished 12th and you are now applying, you have to submit all the 4 years of the mark sheets. And then comes standardized test. You can either present SAT or ACT. And there are two other exams that I want to mention here. One is called AP, which is Advanced Placement Exams. The advanced placement exams are basically subject specific examination. If let's say that a student want to showcase that they are very good in English, they can take advanced place AP in English language and literature. They can take English language and composition. Or if I have to showcase my physics skills are great, I can say that I can take advanced placement exam in physics, electricity, and magnetism. Why these exams are taken is that they are academically very high level exams, and in fact the universities in the US say that they are college level exams. So if you are going to take a college level exam at the high school, which means that it gives you a high credibility that this student is very, very academically driven. Again, universities are saying these are not mandatory, but if you have time and if you're able to prepare and take those exams, go ahead for it. Like when you get an admission and you join the college, if you have multiple AP scores, the university say that, hey, you don't have to do this particular English subject because you have the AP score in English already. So we call them credit trade-offs, so that you can take some other subject to study instead of once again repeating that English level exam that you already taken in the high school. So likewise, the PSAT is called preliminary SAT exam. I would say it's a shorter version of SAT. So when you are in the 9th and 10th grade, you can prepare and take them so that you know based on your scores how much you should be preparing for your SAT to get much better scores. But if you're an American citizen and if you're going to take the PSAT in the 11th grade, then it helps you to also apply for a scholarship. But this is only for American citizens. Non-American citizens are not eligible for this. Okay. Yeah. And then English proficiency, we already spoke about it, but always take only one. Don't take too many exams. Just write any one of them. And you will also see, we spoke all about building your profile, right? But somebody, you're not going to upload your certificates or anything to the US universities, but somebody has to vouch for you saying that, yeah, yes, I know this student is capable of doing all this. And I know they did it and I have seen it and I have evaluated them. That's where the letters of recommendation come into picture. So for undergrad application, you will need letters of recommendation from the teachers who are teaching some specific subjects. And you also need a counselor report, which is like academic counselor at your school should be able to give an overall profile about your school and also your profile in that, say, a group of 1,000 students or 500 students or probably like 100 students and 50 students. So all these things are really necessary. This is where we recommend when the 12th grade begins, if you're on the process of applying to a US university, please reach out to your school teachers, principal, vice principal, or designated teacher as counselor and tell them that you are going through a US university application process, because all these information will be uploaded by them into the respective websites. And application essays, you need to write some 600 to 650 words of essay on a given prompt. And that essay is one benchmark for the university to understand your capability to communicate, your way to understand your personality. And sometimes this is also one of the important factor in deciding your admissions. So you need to spend a lot of time on this. And sometimes they may also ask for additional essays, video essays, if you're going for a music program, audition tapes, and if you're going for even a sports, you need to have the video recordings of the games that you have done. And if you are going for an art, portfolio is 100% mandatory. All these things you need to get prepared. Then comes the financial profile. Resumes are optional because you're going to give all the activities that you have done in the portal itself. So there is no separate resume required. Interviews, most of the time, if you're applying for Ivy Leagues, there will be interviews of the respective alumni of the Ivy League. But sometimes it can be optional as well. Financial documents will be submitted only after your admission is confirmed. So this is typically the application package that you should always be ready to submit to the universities. And they take anywhere from 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, sometimes even 8 weeks to give an admission. But how the admission works, as Pavithra mentioned in the beginning, it's just not about the marks that you have got, your academic graph. So that's why they want from the 9th grade. Somebody would have performed 9th and 10th extremely well, 11th maybe a little dip, and again 12th they would have regained. This is just a natural phenomenon and it is not going to bring down your chances to get good admission. This is also will be looked into. And if you have a reason for why that 11th had come down, you could always explain through your essays or you could always explain through the portals. So university is able to understand the reason for a dip also. So the rest of the things, this is what they look at. They look at your academic honors, standardized tests, leadership potential through your various activities, character of a person, is that a team person or very, very creative person? Oh my God, such an empathetic person. Whatever is, it's been, the university is able to get an idea from the way you are presenting your story to the university. So it's completely a holistic review and it is just not about one single thing called a mark or a grade. So once you get your admission, sometimes students apply to 7 or 8 universities. They may get admission from all of them or from a few of them. Even if you get 3 admissions, before you take the final step of, the 4th step, you need to decide on that one particular university where you are going to start your education. After finalizing that, write to the university that you are taking the admission, and the university will request for financial documents, submit everything to them, and then they will send you a certificate of eligibility, which says that you are academically certified and financially certified to attend that institution. And it has a name called I-20. So you need to receive an I-20 to officially declaring your admission to the university. And only after receiving your I-20, you can start the visa process journey. If you are an American citizen, this step is not for you. You are ready to leave the country. once you get your admission and give a confirmation to the university. The process is very simple for you. They don't ask for further documents or anything. I mean, visa related documents. And then the visa process has 2 steps. First is filling up an application form for the visa. Second, paying a visa interview fee, which is around $180. And then after paying the fee, you have to schedule 2 appointments. The first appointment is for your biometrics or fingerprinting. The second appointment will be a personal interview with the visa officer, who will ask you questions just to understand why are you planning to go to US, how this education is going to impact your future, and what is the journey that you want to take after your bachelor's, what is your intentions, and do you want to come back, who is funding your education, some sort of basic questions. The interview will last for about 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes, and then they will give the decision over the counter. So once your visa is approved, your passport will be collected and the visa will be stamped on it, and then you are officially now ready to leave the country. But when can you leave? You can leave only 30 days prior to your program starting. So suppose my college is starting on September 1st. The earliest by when I can reach US is August 2nd or 3rd. Okay. So now that the visa is stamped, your passport is collected, the last step has a lot of work than what we really anticipate. You have to be ready with your immunization records. You need to be ready with booking your accommodation, air ticket, forex, etc. And sometimes the university will also ask you for placement exam, because they want to create good cohorts of students. So they may ask you to take placement exam in English, placement exam in math, so to understand which level of English and math you are, so that it helps them to sort of streamline the class registration process for you. So this step is also as important as your first step. So remember, to complete the 5 steps, you need 12 to 18 months of time frame. So we are back again with your the infographic on the timeline part. And there are all the services that are offered by Education USA India is free, and we are primarily an information and facilitation center. So we don't do the applications. We expect the student to do the applications, and any questions you have related to any of the process, we are always happy to answer your queries. And you can connect with us in any of the social media platform, and these are our contact coordinates. So even if you Google, you will get all these information for you. So thank you so much for patiently listening to me. And sorry that I little overboarded. I'm always enthusiastic about talking to students on undergrad education. And thank you, Pavithra, for this opportunity. And
thank you so much, Shanthi. This was fantastic. And we do expect some questions from the audience.
Sure. Yeah.
We will have some questions at the end of the session.
Sure.
So we are almost, nearing our end. But thank you so much. That was so informative. And I would like to actually pick off where you left off, which is now that you have actually explained the entire journey, right? I think you really got into the details in terms of how to prepare your profile, how to articulate that profile, and how to choose the universities. You went to funding. So you have given all the theory. And I just wanted to wrap up with a few case studies, like in things of it, like, theory and practicals, right? So I would like to show the profiles of some of our students, what they did, how they did it, what outcomes they received. And that way, parents and students here get a more concrete picture of some ideas that they can also follow based on their profile. And right, so I would just want to say that, like you said, there's so many different factors involved in building a profile. That's the beautiful thing about American universities or universities abroad in general. They do not look at that one-dimensional part of you. They look at everything. So it takes time and effort to build this profile, to make it a coherent, coalesce into one unique you, because that narrative is what will shine through in your essays. So again, I want to reiterate, the earlier you start, the better your result will be. So that's something really important to keep in mind. It's not just your marks or scores, it's so many different factors. So when you talked about the timeline, I just wanted to add that we kind of give this advice to our students and parents, right? That is in terms of the timeline, what can you do in each grade and how does the whole thing work together? So every row that you see here, Galvanize has a package for helping students and parents navigate that step. For example, we offer a service called profile building, where we guide students in grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 as to what they can do in that year. Each quarter, what they can do, we guide them to specific activities, projects based on an in-depth profile evaluation of that particular child's interests and aptitude and target specialization. What are their goals? So based on that, we guide the students through the profile building. Similarly, the SAT preparation is something that we recommend students take in grade 10, if not grade 11. Grade 12 will be a little last minute, and also we have some of our students who are quite precocious who take it in grade 9 itself. So this is something that we can help you with. And but the TOEFL and IELTS, as these exams, the scores are valid for 2 years, it's better to take them in the 11th or the 12th grade, right? Followed by admission counseling. Again, like you rightly pointed out, you must start 12 to 18 months prior, which means you have to start in your 11th grade itself. Right. And finally, the pre-departure and other services for whoever require them. So this is how our offerings are structured to cater to the needs of our students and parents, right? So a little bit on our organization, who is the one offering these services? So these are all put together by leading experts in global test prep and admissions. And if there is one thing that I would say about Galvanize, it's that we are all about personalization. See, when we started Galvanize Global Education, the reason behind coining the term galvanize is to activate the student, right? It's to motivate you and energize you and give you that direction and support, because the students and the parents, they already come with a lot of they already have many things like a seed. They have the potential, and it's up to us to make sure they act on that potential, and hence galvanize. And we believe that because every child is different, we found the best outcomes come when we offer a personalized approach. So we try and work one-on-one with our students as much as possible, whether it is our test preparation or our admission counseling. It's highly personalized, it's one-on-one. So that is something very important to keep in mind. And whenever you enroll for any of our packages, it's completely online. We have students from more than actually 30 cities and towns in India just enroll for our undergraduate bachelor's aspirations itself, right? And the last part I would want to add, which makes Galvanize very different from anyone else, is the extent to which the parents are kept in the loop in terms of what happens, right? So you will get regular updates. Sometimes we deal with situations where students and parents don't talk. They're not that comfortable with each other. But when they talk to us, they share their own aspirations and wishes to one another through us. So we have had all kinds of dynamics by helping and supporting parents. It's as an educator, one thing I've realized is even the most expert parent struggles to give professional advice to their child, right? They can give advice to the whole world. They may be super good in their profession, but when it comes to their child, there is that little bit of relationship, dynamic which creeps in, and therefore it might be very helpful to have parents involved in a way that is that takes their full concerns into account and gives them all the inputs and feedback, but not in a way that directly sets them up in conflict with their child. So this is a dynamic which I'm very happy to say that at Galvanize we have mastered how to navigate well. So I always tell that it's a triangle, right? The parent, the student, and Galvanize, and that is how we work with all our students and parents. So I just want to walk you very briefly through the admission counseling. So after we onboard you and we fully understand your profile in terms of your aspirations and your budget and your needs and so on, we will recommend the universities and we will classify them as ambitious, practical, and safe based on each and every student's profile. So one student's ambitious can be another student's practical recommendation, right? And Of course, the crucial part of essays. There's lots and lots of essays to write, as Shanthi mentioned. A typical applicant to an American university may end up writing anywhere between 20 to 40 essays easily. And these essays are not on topics that we are used to in Indian schools. It's not about Gandhiji or our independence struggle or, the role of science in today's world. These essays will be mostly about you, what motivates you in life. What are the challenges that you have faced in life and how have you overcome those setbacks? Is there something that you would wish to change in the society or the community around you? So what that change would be, how would you like to bring that change about? And so these are all very interesting essays. And I've noticed that when students go through this journey of writing these essays about themselves, of course, with the able guidance of my team and our editors and our counselors, I noticed that just the process of articulating their inner thoughts outside and finding a narrative, they come out of this process so much more clearer, more confident, and standing their own ground, and at the same time being able to take in information and process it much better than they were before. So this is the best part of applying to universities abroad, is that it forces you to undergo a self-introspection journey. And the US is really the best I've seen when it comes to this particular aspect of application. So once you have done all this, then you will be having all your supplementary, remember, we not just essays, sometimes universities ask for video essays. If you're applying in certain fields, you have the portfolios and other aspects to submit. And finally, when you get your admission, then we help you at Galvanize, we help you to navigate the last steps of financing and visa and pre-departure. So these are all the different aspects that we guide in terms of the admission counseling. And of course, all parents, you will get regular updates on your child's progress. What are the next steps? So we work as a team. We are the professional, you're the parent and the loved one. And that's how we together bring about the best outcome for our children. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our SAT preparation as well. We are very, solid on SAT because, see, it is a very important test, and it's often used as a rejection criteria by universities if the scores are too low. So I'm happy to share that more than 70% of the SAT students at Galvanize have scored 90th percentile or above on their SAT. I'd like to share with you a few of our SAT high scorers here. They're all from different parts of India. Many of them are from tier 2, tier 3 cities. Like I said, because we are fully online and it's one-on-one, we can help you get the best possible score for your potential. So again, a little bit of info on scholarships. I'm delighted to share that 60% of our students have received scholarships for undergrad, for bachelors abroad. And the average scholarship amount that our students have received is $40,000. I'm going to share with you a few of our students who have received scholarships. You can see for different fields of study, they have received scholarships. You have, and these are all students from different parts of India. Again, some of them are from tier 1 cities, some of them are from smaller rural areas. So the point I'm making is you can, if your profile is strong, and depending on the university and how well your profile is presented, how desperately the university wants you, it is possible to try and get a scholarship. And this has been our track record with 60% of our students receiving scholarships. So when I say our students, this is what I really want to end with today. You've seen a lot of theory. Let's actually see some case studies of students. First, I will showcase to you some of our students who've gotten admits to US universities, right? So here I'm going to start with Raghav. He's from Chennai, APL Global School. Excellent SAT score. Very academically oriented profile. So what we recommended for him was to do a research project, and we guided him to pursue a project under the mentorship of Patrick Funk, who's actually a PhD student from and Carnegie Mellon. And what is very interesting is the topic that he chose. So you can see that because Raghav did not have many social impact, or social volunteering activities in his profile, we guided him to choose a topic that really looks into an important social need and at the same time brings out his interest in data science and economics. So you can see that he was looking into the effect of government initiatives like midday meal schemes and what effect they have had on important metrics and indices later on for the future of those states where they were implemented, right? So this is one very important, way of showcasing and building your profile. Okay, I will show you another student, very different profile. Okay, this student, Dhruv, you can see the difference between the academics of the two students, right? So you can see that here his focus was more on doing activities involving people, sports, teams. So Dhruv was very keen to study sports management, and he managed to convince his family that, look, I will I build my profile and get the guidance in such a way that if I get admitted to a good university in sports management and finance, you have to send me. Parents readily agreed. Look at the way he has built out his profile. His passion convinced Chennai Super Kings to take him up as a business analytics intern. He was a school captain for the soccer team. He's trekked a lot in the Himalayas, marketing intern with Major League Cricket. So you can see that combination of passion for sports coupled with data analytics and using information to, advise activities and outcomes. So this is what helped him get accepted to the University of Massachusetts Amherst in the US. It's ranked within the top 30 of American public universities. Right, so you can see how I'm showing you different students with different profiles. So Raghav here got accepted to UC San Diego, again, top 6 in American public schools and number 10 in the country for data science, right? So again, the point is, depending on what you want to do, depending on your goal, that's how you have to build your profile. You can see how these two children have built their profile very, very differently. Let's take yet another student. This is Niharika from Bangalore, and she is very keen on aerospace. So you can see that she has built out her profile on astrophysics, aerospace, astronomy, and at the same time, she has very strong extracurricular activities. She's a proficient classical dancer. And these are some of the aspects that we put together, to present her narrative. And she got accepted to the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Again, very, very prestigious university in the US, and where she's pursuing her bachelor's currently in aerospace. So one thing I wanted to highlight to you is students can be from different boards of education as well. For example, Raghavan here is from an international board, IB Board of Education, whereas Niharika here is from the Karnataka State Board, is where she did her 11th and 12th. So yes, while international board students do have a small advantage over their, state board, or for that matter, even CBSE counterparts, it is not it is not something that you cannot overcome with the right effort and the right guidance. So that's what I wanted to point out in Niharika's profile. I'll show you another one of our students. Like I said, smaller towns. Lakshita hails from Tirunelveli. But again, you can see the dedication. Look at the test scores. Look at the clarity, right? So a lot of extracurriculars are there, but because the student was keen to do bachelor's in biology, Lakshita has done an internship at Tirunelveli Medical College as part of the viral research and diagnostic lab. And you know how, post-COVID, research into virology is so important. And for a school student to get this internship and to get a recommendation letter from their supervisor, this shows their dedication. No wonder Lakshita got accepted to Stony Brook University, which is again among the top schools in the US, top public schools as well. It's located in New York. I'll show you another one of our students. This is Vishnu Pandian from Delhi. And he won a scholarship of 160,000 US dollars. Very clear. Look at his profile. Okay, you won't see too much of academics. You won't see too much of internships or research. But look at his extracurricular activities. He was so involved in air rifle shooting that he has been selected to represent India in many international events. He has won these contests as well. And he chose, we guided him to this particular university because this university actually has a team for air rifle shooting. They play the sport, as part of the university, inter-university competitions in the US. And therefore, it's such a win-win situation, right? Vishnu gets to continue his passion of air rifle shooting. The university gets a fantastic, a student who's good at the sport. Vishnu gets a scholarship, fabulous scholarship, and his parents have the confidence that end of the day, my child is getting a bachelor's degree in computer science engineering from an US university. So, like, it's such a win-win-win situation, right? This is so satisfying to us at Galvanize. Now I'll show you briefly students who also went to other countries, like Shanthi said. In addition to the US, you can also apply to another country, and let us see how to go about what is the process and what our students did, right? You can for example say hello to Sindhu from Chennai. This is her profile. She has done varied things. So right until her 12th grade, she was not sure what she wanted to specialize in. She was interested in design, she was interested in engineering, she was interested in biology. And so finally, we put together her profile in such a way that it made sense for her to apply to a bachelor's in biomedical engineering and design. And we're so happy to have placed her at National University of Singapore, which is actually ranked number 8 in the whole world. And if you look up the QS world rankings. This is another one of our students, is Hirshit. He's also from Chennai, and he was very much into sports and also into engineering. Interestingly, Hirshit happens to be the son of a cricketer, Hemang Badani. Some of you might have be familiar with his experience there. So we can see that interest in cricket, and at the same time, there's a social cause, there's volunteering in home for disabled and underprivileged children. He also did an academic project, cricket scoring system using C++. I like the fact that people are able to blend their technological and their passion and do projects. Those projects really stand out well. He's currently in the UK at the University of Edinburgh pursuing his bachelor's in electrical systems. This university is ranked number 27 in the whole world. Now meet Manya, who is from Gurgaon and who has won a $100,000 Canadian dollar scholarship to study economics at the University of Toronto. So when we worked with Manya, and she's, all of our students have given us fabulous testimonials, by the way. So we saw in Manya a very interesting profile, a lot of extracurriculars, very outgoing, high achiever, at the same time very extroverted, and therefore you can see how her profile was conveyed. So I'm very happy that for example, when Manya's mother wrote back to us saying how delighted she was with the outcome, it makes us feel very satisfied, because we are helping not just the next generation, but we're also giving that satisfaction to parents that they're doing their duty successfully with respect to their child, right? That's every parent's dream. I'll move on to Vishweshwaran. He's from Coimbatore, the TIP school there, BS in aerospace. You can check out his academics, but you can see clearly that his passion is more in terms of robotics and aeronautics. He did a project under a PhD a guide from Princeton University, which, as you all know, is an Ivy League university. He achieved the 3rd place at the World Adolescent Robot Contest. He represented India in the contest in China. So this is some of the things that we would like you to see how you can build your profile, and then we have to, of course, express your narrative and articulate it convincingly. Let's look at an English major. This is Tilotama, one of our students from Kolkata. So again, you can see her background. She has won contest first place in the Times short story writing competition. Her another article and story that she penned was selected for an international publication for one of her stories. Lot of academic performance and classical dance as well. So again, you can see, and she's doing her BA in literature, in English literature. I'm so excited to see what the kind of impact that she will make with her writing in future. And one thing that gives me so much heart is that parents nowadays, when they were forced in their generation to do whatever it is that they did, maybe they would have been forced to go into engineering or medicine or chartered accountancy or law, whatever that was done by their parents, your grandparents. But today's parents are saying, look, I want my child to become one of the, really, I want my child to shine in their field of choice. And I know that if I guide them along the direction of their passion and I give them that opportunity, then they will prove me right that I created this foundation. So I'm so happy to see parents taking this sort of confidence and investment in their children's future. This is Priyanshu. While he was not exceptional in his academics or projects, he was super well grounded, extremely helpful child, like Shanthi was saying, would try and impact a lot in his community, very, very clear, sincere, always helping people. And the kind of projects that he did, the social work that he did made his application stand out significantly. And he's currently doing his bachelor's in Canada and even won a scholarship of more than $60,000. In fact, I'm actually happy to share with you what some of the parents feel. Here, Dr. Sarojini is Priyanshu's mother. And because they live in Delhi, she says she was initially hesitant to, get Priyanshu guided by Galvanize. We are based in Chennai. But as she progressed, she saw that her fears dissolved. The online process was so smooth, seamless, and constant support throughout, she says, my son's journey have filled me with immense excitement for his future. That's Dr. Sarojini Naik from Delhi. And then I also have the father of Dhruv. Remember the kid who went on to do a bachelor's in sports management. So Mr. Ganapati says, Galvanize engaged regularly and proactively, and giving me great peace of mind and confidence that he would be able to realize his dreams. This is what we were talking about in terms of our orientation towards parents and fulfilling your needs, that your child's dreams have the best support possible. This is just some of the multitudes of feedback and happy testimonials and videos we have received from our parents. In the interest of time, I'm just showcasing with you a couple of them. So now that you have got a full understanding of how Galvanize can help you in the journey to do your bachelor's degree in the US and in other countries, would you like to avail a detailed profile evaluation session with us? This would be a Zoom call with our admissions team, as well as with the parent and the student would be there. And we will want to understand, before that, you will need to first send us a write-up of just a basic, we will tell you exactly what information we need about your child's, say, academics, extracurriculars, your target country, your target specialization, and a whole bunch of things. And then we will use that to have a conversation with you where we give some, nuanced comments and observations on your profile. And then if you find that helpful, you can then later on consider enrolling with us for any of our services, namely our profile building service, our SAT test preparation service, of course, our TOEFL IELTS service, and mainly our admissions counseling for students in grade 11 and 12. So this is something that we are happy to share with you if you're interested. Okay, so thank you so much for your response. I'm glad to know that 80% of you are interested in having a detailed session with our experts, and do let us know. Just scan this QR code. Whoever is interested, you can scan this and fill up the profile evaluation form. And by doing that, our team will reach you and we will tell you exactly what specific information we require for a more fruitful conversation. And then we can schedule our profile evaluation session with you and your child. Please try and make sure that the parent and the student are present together for this profile evaluation session on Zoom, because that's when you will get the most benefit out of it. It's so important for us to be aligned on this. All right. So that brings me to the end of our session today. I'm so happy that that you were able to spend 2 hours with us. That's 2 hours invested in your future, in clarity for your goals. And I'm really happy that Ms. Shanthi was also here. She answered lots of questions as well. And I'm happy to open the floor now for questions. Any questions whether you have for Ms. Shanthi from USIEF, or whether you have it for me on behalf of Galvanize Global Education, we are happy to take your questions. So please shoot. I would say that if the questions are too specific, like if they are dealing with something too specific for one child and based on his or her profile, then if it is not beneficial for the rest of the rest of the audience today, we may request you to schedule a one-on-one profile evaluation session. But if you have any general questions, do let us know. And I would love to know your anything else that you would like to us to cover in future sessions. Okay, one of the questions that has come is, what if a student wants to aim for engineering and sustainability? Excellent choice. Nowadays, sustainable engineering is a part of environmental engineering. There's also sustainable architecture. There are so many, wonderful programs that top US universities have started on this. And definitely do schedule a profile evaluation, and we will be able to guide you more, closely on that. Another question is, do IGCSE students need to take the IELTS or the TOEFL? Well, yes, they do. Even if you have studied in IGCSE or IB, American universities do prefer that you take the IGCSE or, I'm sorry, the IELTS or the TOEFL exam. However, it's possible that certain, say, British or English UK universities might waive these exams. So it varies from country to country, and it also varies from university to university. So to make sure that you don't lose the opportunity to apply to certain universities, it's better that you actually apply, you take the test, because then it keeps the choice of the pool of universities you're eligible for much wider and open. Here we have another question from Anahita. I'm currently a student in 11th grade. That's so nice. Your question is, you're confused about the profile building part. Can we assist you? Yes, Galvanize 100% can assist you. Yes, you're already in the 11th grade, and therefore, you don't have too much time, but you do have 1 year. And that 1 year is a lot if you are able to plan well and build your profile in accordance with your schedule, right? You will already have activities that you're doing. So once we understand what keeps you busy, what times of the week you're free, and what are your passions, what your interests, then we can guide you on how to build your profile according to that. So definitely, yes, we can assist you. We have another question: which country is best for science-based fields like biotechnology? So biotechnology, look, a lot of the countries abroad are doing very high-end research on this. US, I would say, is number one. For the sheer number of top universities doing exceptional research in this space. For example, Johns Hopkins University, excellent for biotechnology. Many MIT. You have the number of universities is very high in the US that are doing high-end research. But you can also apply to the UK. Germany is another option. But yes, US just has more number of universities that do high-end research. Darsh asks a fantastic question: how much does Galvanize cost? Well, let me put it this way. I'm sure you're aware of the cost of the 4-year education in the US, which, as Shanthi talked about, and that is an investment in your child's future. So Galvanize services cost a tiny fraction of that 4-year investment. But when you undertake our services, you will be able to ensure that you're getting the best possible university for your profile. And because that university is going to stick on your resume for the rest of your life, it does make sense, I would say, to try and get the best guidance And I can tell you that with the personalized services that we offer, our pricing is, I would say, the lowest anywhere in India that you can go for the kind of quality that we are providing for our students. And we are exceptionally reasonable and competitive in terms of our pricing. Our pricing differs from package to package. Our profile building, again, for grade 9 and 10, it is 75,000 rupees plus GST. For grade 11 and 12, it is slightly higher. Similarly, our admissions counseling also has a package. Our SAT, the starting package is, it's a one-on-one. Remember, one child and one tutor, no multiple kids. That our starting for SAT comes at rupees 1 lakh plus GST for one child, right? So again, like, and our admission counseling varies depending on the country, the number of universities that you want, and so on. So do schedule a profile evaluation, and based on your needs, we'll be able to give you exactly what is the right recommendation for you. So I have another question. Should I move to IGCSE for my grade 11 to get into the best college? Is AP mandatory? I would invite Ms. Shanthi to take this question. I think, I have been speaking for a while, and I would love to hear ma'am's inputs.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Thank you, Divesh, for that wonderful question, because this is what most of the parents or even students ask us. As I said in the beginning, it's not about the board where you're studying. It's about how are you actually showcasing yourself and the profile that you're building. So I think that would answer the first part of your question, whether moving to an IGCSE, is it going to help me? The second thing, the APs also, I specifically mentioned, they are not mandatory. But if you have an option or if you are able to manage your current education as well as prepare for the AP exam, it's well and good, because it is going to showcase that you can challenge any high level academics as well. So on that note, yes, if you have time, I would recommend do it when you're in the 11th grade, but not when you're in the 12th, because you would have already applied. So you cannot showcase those AP scores which you have which you're going to get after the 12th grade. There is no limit, but my recommendation is don't stress yourself so much. Even if you want to do 1 or 2, that's fine. And again, I reiterate, it's not anything which is mandatory to build your profile. You're muted.
Thank you so much for that. That was very clear. Next question is from Rajan, who wants to know good universities for doing animation. Now, since we want to keep our questions more general for everybody here, this is a specific course. Animation is a fantastic course. Lots and lots of good universities are there. If you can sign up for the profile evaluation specifically in terms of animation, we will be able to guide you. There are large universities, but there are also some very small niche universities. That is like, you will be surprised to know that there are some smaller institutes that focus only on animation, but they send their students to some of the best animation studios in the world. So we can go deeper into that, in a one-on-one session. So I would like to wrap up our wonderful session today. Parents, students, you have invested 2 hours on a Sunday to get the best information for your future. I'm sure it will not go unrewarded. And thank you so much, Shanthi ma'am, for your time, your willingness to guide our next generation is so appreciated by our audience. I would love to know the feedback from all of you. How did you feel about this session? Please tell us. This is very important for us to plan future sessions and how to go about it. And do let us know in the chat as well. How did you feel about the session? I thank you so much from Divesh Parthiban. You have said it's one of the best talks on US education I have attended. It was precise, well put. This is exactly why we do all of this, to make sure that you get the benefit. We are a medium for that. Thank you so much for appreciating all of us. This has been very, very exciting. Wish you all the very best for this amazing journey. I guarantee you that the student and the parent who begins this journey of applying to American universities, and the student and the parent who come out at the end of the journey, even before you fly out with your visa in hand, just the process of applying to these universities is going to change you in a very positive way. It's going to evolve your own thinking, your own articulation about yourself. So ultimately, even whether you choose to go do your bachelor's abroad or not, I strongly recommend every parent to go through the application process, because this is something you will not easily find in any Indian university, and just get to know yourself better, get to know the world better through this application process of trying your luck with American universities. So wish you all the very best. Have a wonderful rest of the Sunday, a great week ahead, and best of luck for all your academic and professional outcomes. This is Pavithra from Galvanize, and also I have with me Shanthi from USIEF. We thank you for your time, and we were so excited to be with you today.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Pavithra. You echoed everything that I wanted to share. It's a wonderful experience, and good luck to all those who have gathered here today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your being here and giving the right kind of guidance to students, because it's so, not many organizations put students' interests first. And I think that is what binds Galvanize and USIEF together. So we are so happy to be working together for a common cause. So everybody have a great time, and we will